Hey y'all, and welcome to Life on a Farm. So today I'm kind of finishing up our series of like family structure that I've been talking to y'all about. And one of the reasons why I really wanted to share a lot of the things that I have shared with y'all is because I'm so passionate about building a strong family which will render strong generations to come. So if we fail here, we see a collapse of morality, which we are already, you guys can just really stop and look around and see that we are literally on the verge of doing that. So I really blame generations before us of not doing some of the things that I've been talking about. Y'all, Colossians lays it out beautifully for us. Wives, submit to your husbands, which we're going to talk a little bit more about that today. Husbands, love your wives. And if husbands, which is the leader of the household, is doing the things that they're supposed to be doing, like loving their wives as their self, and doing away with their selfish desires and wants and putting their wives before them and their families' desires before even themselves, then the wives wouldn't have any trouble loving their husbands. And then children obeying, and children obeying comes with teaching them discipline. So a lot of that we've already talked about, but today I really want to kind of drill in and focus on the wife here, and really some roles that are just, I feel like, fantastic to keep in mind as you're doing this thing called motherhood and what it looks like to be a wife. So let's jump into that right now. It works together, right? It's like a coin that has a front side and a coin that has the back side, obviously, but essentially they go together. Now, a lot of feminists want to drive this idea home where nobody tells me what to do. I'm the boss. I make my own decisions, right? And see, here's the thing. When we're disobedient, we're not being disobedient to our husbands or this idea that the world has. Essentially, we're being disobedient to God. And a lot of the feminist mindset, I know a lot of those mindsets are very liberal and immoral and ungodly anyway, but that's really what it boils down to. If you love the Lord and you want to please Him, then you're gonna obey His commands. And y'all, that's not an option. It doesn't say if you want to or if this or that. No, it says wives, submit to your husbands. Now, as I said, that's not a slave type mentality. It's not somebody lording over us, right? It is husband being the leader of the home. And you guys may come together and he may see things one way and you may see things another way. When it comes to major decisions, right, we are called to submit. We can voice our concerns and our thoughts and the pros and cons, but ultimately the decision of the household should always be made by the father, especially if he is following the Lord. And even if he doesn't, I really hate to break it to you, but you married him, so that's part of the consequence of submitting to your husband. Know who you're marrying from the get-go, right? Like, that kind of stuff really does matter. So that is really, in a nutshell, wives, submit to your husbands. Again, I know that's not what we want to hear or what we want to do. I am naturally built as a type A personality, a leader, a doer, and independent, so I don't like to be told what to do often. But knowing that it's not about pleasing really anyone except for being obedient to God's commandment, right? And here's the thing, when we don't do those things, we don't get God's blessing, right? Because when we're obedient, God blesses us in that obedience. Really, if it's hard or easy, when we're obedient, when we're called to be submissive to our husbands, and we do it whether it's easy or whether it's hard, God will bless us for that obedience. So keep that in mind as you're doing this thing, because essentially it is our goal to please Him, the Heavenly Father, Him, right? So there are a couple other things I want to talk about, but that being like number one, right, that is a command. But I want to get into like some fleshly things that women, I'm prone to do, and I know a lot of women just in general are prone to do. So I kind of want to talk about those things with y'all to keep in mind. Men and women are natured so different. So when a man, so let's just jump into that right now. So when a man goes out and cuts the yard, or does your landscaping, or helps you with the dishes, or whatever that looks like, men are naturally geared towards wanting to be noticed. I won't say that all men, I'm not going to put them all in a category, okay, but in general, it's really affirming to them that you noticed something that they did, and it honors them when you say, hey honey, I noticed that such and such, thank you for doing that. Or just walking in, hey, thank you for doing such and such, I appreciate that. So when you let them know, instead of either making snarky comments or just not even saying anything about it at all, it's really affirming to them and makes them feel really great when you as a wife notices that they do something and thanks them for that. So keep that in mind. If your husband steps up and does something a little extra special, let him know how much you appreciate it, and that little bit of thanks will always go a long way. I mentioned this a little bit in my last video when I was really talking to the husbands. I was talking about meeting needs and how women are geared more emotional, and sometimes that means just sitting down and talking to her. Okay, so I did my spiel on the men, and I'm not really a man, but y'all, I've done a lot of studying and research and reading just about this topic in general. But women, on the flip side, we know that women are really emotional, and they like to talk and, you know, talk it out. So I really encouraged men, hey, if your wife is like that, I'm not, but most wives are, hey, just suck it up, sit down, and listen to her. That's all she really wants. So on the flip side of that, y'all, here's the other side of the coin. So men are not naturally natured to be overly emotional. They don't want to tell you. They may want to come in and tell you about their day. Men have more of a macro mind, a big picture. Women have a micro mind, right? They want to discuss every little detail. They want to go through all the little ands, ifs, buts, and all of that. Men are a bigger picture, so they may want to come in and tell you how their day is, you know, whatever, but they're not going to go into big emotional spills like women do, right? So on the flip side of that, men are naturally geared towards more physical needs. Women, you know what I'm talking about without even having to write it down, spell it out, you know what I mean. So when I was telling the husband, look, if your wife has the emotional need, you need to sit down, talk to her, discuss it, you know, put your big boy pants on and sit down with her, right? That is making you a great husband, because you're being there for her when she needs you. So on the flip side of that, women, physical needs, again, you know what I'm talking about. Put your big girl pants on. I don't care if you have a backache. I don't care if you have a headache. I don't care, okay? I'm telling you, from woman to woman, suck it up. Your husband has a physical need, meet his physical need. Just like on the flip side, when I was telling the husbands, if you don't sit down and talk to her, if you don't make her feel important or special by just listening to her, she's going to go to someone who will. On the flip side of that, women, if you're not meeting your husband's physical needs at home, then he will go to someone who will. Now, I'm hoping that within a godly marriage, it will not come to that. But marriages that are not godly, or marriages where one spouse is saved and one spouse isn't, like, you have to meet your spouse's need. And with men, they're driven with physical needs. So women, I'm telling you, if your husband walks by and gives you a wink or whatever, walks by and nods or grins or whatever, and you're like, well, my head's hurting, suck it up. I'm just telling you, suck it up, get over it. Meet your husband's physical needs. And honestly, that is as important to him as him sitting down talking to you and listening to all of your details about your day and how you feel and who hurt your feelings and all of those kinds of things. And I want to just top this off. I feel like those are very important things to men, right? So wives, we should be focused on those things for our husbands. It's very important to submit first off from a Christian and a biblical standpoint. I've already ran through all of that, and letting our husbands know they're appreciated in our words. I did this whole spiel, guys. If you didn't see my last video, go back and look. I'm gonna say it again just in case you didn't hear it, that love is an action, and it means taking that love and showing them. It can't always be done with words. It takes action. Love is an action. It is a verb. It is something you have to do. So for our men, our men, it's physical. So be there for your husband. Get over it if you have a headache. And I also want to add this too at the very end of the video. You know, honestly, I couldn't cover everything that a marriage requires in a couple of series, and I've had some people in the comment section make remarks like I was being judgmental with the things that I said. Y'all, I'm not telling you this to judge you. I'm not telling you this in any demeaning look at all, okay? I'm telling you guys this because I want to see good families. I'm encouraging men to step up and be a man. I'm encouraging women to suck it up. There may be times we don't feel good. There may be times we feel emotionally beat down or whatever, but we live for a bigger purpose than just ourselves. That's for men and women. And when you get married, we have to remember that it's not about I anymore, it's about we. And I want to see marriages not just survive, I want to see them thrive. And sometimes people don't even know the basics, right? They don't even know the basics of their love language for their spouse. And sometimes those little things are so important. And we see people get married all the time now, and then after just 5 years, after 10 years, after 12 years, they're like, well, I'm just not happy anymore. I'm just not happy anymore. Well, something went wrong, right? Were we not communicating? Were we apparently not meeting needs? What went on where somebody dropped the ball? And sometimes it's just not knowing the simple things, right? And I want to share, like I said, some very basic things to encourage you guys to think about and ponder on of how you can be a better spouse, because I don't want to see marriages failing. I don't want to see them ending in divorce. Satan is on a heyday with divorces in our families, and y'all, it hurts not only us, it hurts the spouse on the other side. Even though it may look like they're headed to greener pastures, in reality they're really not. And it hurts the children, and it's just not good all the way around. It was a covenant made before God, which shouldn't be broken but under very, very small circumstances. But most of the divorce ends today in, well, I'm just not happy anymore. And that's not a good enough excuse for me. So I say all of these things not in judgment, but because I don't want to see people, especially that I know and I love, but you guys, I feel like a lot of you guys comment. I know you by your screen name, and when you see people going off of the edge of a cliff, if you love them enough to say, stop, I see the direction you're going, turn around and let me help you come back. So I say all these things to encourage you guys, because I want to give you some things to think about, some advice to make yourself better as a spouse, so that our marriages can thrive. And when our marriages thrive, our children can thrive. So guys, please just take these things and ponder on them. Go to more scripture. There are tons of different books out there that have wonderful tips for husbands and wonderful tips for wives that will make you think less about yourself. And I've said this on every single one of my videos, and I absolutely mean it. The people that are the most selfish people, their life revolves around themselves, are usually the most depressed people. And those that think more about others and serving others are typically the happiest people, because there's a joy that comes from that you can't get anywhere else. So you find joy in taking your eyes off of yourself and being able to do something for somebody else. So guys, thank you so much for watching this. I really don't want to step on toes. I know this is a hard subject across the board, and I just feel so passionate about families and families staying together and having good, strong, godly families, because it yields the fruit of children when they're trained and they're taught within the home with these principles. It's easier for them. I'm not saying that they can't thrive without two parents, but it is easier for them when there is two people in a family leading as a husband and a wife. It is better for the children. Not always the case. Totally understand that. Sometimes wives do everything they can to make it right, and sometimes husbands do everything they can to make it right, and sometimes it just won't work out. But the fact of knowing that I'm just not happy anymore, like I told y'all, it's not good enough for me. I want us all to work on these things and do better. Guys, I have a great video coming out next time. It is back to the farm life. I'm going to be showing y'all some things out in my greenhouse, some upcoming things, areas that I have focused personally on planting this year and why. So please stay tuned for the next video coming out after this. Until next time, God bless and happy homesteading, y'all.